Thank you, Mr. Chairman, as I still refer to Mr. Chairman Johnson from Louisiana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Democrat majority is COVID crazy. It's January 6th forever, January 6th crazy, climate crazy. Everything's racist. Everything is seen through a transgender lens. And then there's their policies. They're policies that are wreaking harm on the American people and that the American people don't want. They've done so much harm to the country in the last year and a half as they've had the majority, as along with the White House. It's hard to put your finger upon what's the worst thing that's happened to the country. Is it the rapidly rising violent crime? The undermining of our police, putting victims, putting criminals ahead of victims, criminals ahead of police, and just now figuring out that if you cut police, if you defund police, if you don't support police, then of course you get more crime. Is it what they're doing to our military, Wokifying, Wussifying our military with these radical policies, these diversity, equity, inclusion policies that think our military is a social experiment, kicking out military members because they don't get a vaccine? We got 100,000 troops that are at risk of being dismissed from the military when we're at 40% of our recruiting goals. Is it what we're doing at the border? Gosh, we could go on and on about the border once again. Is that the worst crisis that the Democrats have created with their policies? What this president had to do to keep a secure border was nothing. Continue the policies of the previous administration, and we would have a secure border. Instead, we've allowed some 4 million, now averaging about 10,000 a day, illegal aliens crossing into our country. Over 3 million acknowledged by Border Patrol, encountered at the border, most of them released in the interior of the country, and then some 800,000 criminal gotaways, the ones who, don't want to be taken into our custody, don't want to be given free health care, don't want to be given free education, free social services, free transportation, wherever they want to go without a quarter to appear, the ones who are evading capture because they're trafficking drugs, humans, sex trafficking, child trafficking across our border, the ones with terrorist ties and criminal ties, and who will do irreparable harm in the days, weeks, and months ahead. Then you look at the energy policy, which is driving, along with the rapid spending, is driving the inflation in this country. Energy policy. What did we need to do when this president took over a year and a half ago to remain energy independent for the first time in history? Nothing. Continue the policies. But this president, during the campaign, promised to declare war on fossil fuels to end American energy, essentially, oil and gas production in this country, and that is a promise that he has kept. The way he has willfully put regulatory burdens, restrictions on the energy industry, and now he goes essentially with a big gas can, carrying it over to the Middle East, begging these other world producers who don't produce energy as cleanly as we do to produce more energy to try to bail him out of his failed policies. Meanwhile, what do we have? His transportation secretary, who has no experience in transportation, by the way, he says, hey, the more pain that we can cause, the more benefit. The more pain we can cause with rising gas prices, the more benefit. Memo, most Americans can't afford a $70,000 electric vehicle. Most Americans don't have somebody to drive them around in a big SUV so they can get out of the SUV right before the photo op and get on their bicycle and just bike the last block to work. Most Americans don't have that option. This administration, this Democrat majority is out of touch with the American people. They're hurting the country. These policies are being rejected. And you're going to see in 111 days from today the representation of that, the demonstration of that on November 8th. Thank you, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.